Hey, this is Try Trying Hard number 2. This episode is brought to you by ColoradoMusicConnection.com. For concert reviews, interviews, CD reviews, and more, go to ColoradoMusicConnection.com. I'm Gweedo, and my comrade here is Doc.
The first thing I wanted to speak of is just recently announced was Motley Crue's farewell tour. They're going to be touring with Alice Cooper, which is kind of interesting backup. I mean, he's a really good guy. What do you think about that?
So we've seen this. We've seen this in the past. Both bands, not necessarily together, because we haven't. Well, at least I haven't. But we were speaking earlier together about Motley Crue, and I saw them this past year at an event here in Colorado, out in the Grand Junction area. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much, more or less.
Yeah.
Right by the Utah border. Called Rock Jam. We've been going forever. We've been at it 10, 12 years,
yeah.
Something stupid like that.
Long time since
every
college,
year.
man.
Yeah, really.
It's been it.
It's become a religion for us, and it's I go every year, not to necessarily see somebody, but because every time I go, I find somebody that I'm a fan of when I leave. I find a new talent, and even sometimes it's bands I've heard of that I haven't really given, I guess, the respect or the attention to. And when I leave, after seeing them live, I really like to gauge it by that. People that really can perform well live, and not just the flashy this and that and fireworks and what have you, but put on a good show that sounds very nice, audibly. That's why we listen to music, right? We listen to music, we don't watch music, but when you can combine the two, it's great. And Motley Crue they have a really good legacy of putting on not only a very good show that you can listen to, but an awesome show to watch as well.
Well, that Rock Jam one was fantastic.
It was amazing.
There was strippers on stilts.
Great.
I missed a chunk of it because I was drunk on tequila. That'll happen.
That will happen. But it's rock and roll after all.
I believe that's the third time that I've seen Motley Crue. That was the best show of theirs, and understandably, because they were effectively every night on that whole tour, plus the Rock Jam, opening for Kiss. And
Sure.
Kiss does an extravagant show, so you gotta step it up. But typically, Crue did a stint over in Vegas. And for the little Vegas stint, and Tommy Lee's done this before, he puts his drum kit on a little roller coaster type thing. So they're not strangers to the little showmanship thing, but this is the first tour
that's what made both these bands really big to begin with anyway, was the showmanship. Yep. Kiss in particular. Mm-hmm. We can talk about legacy anyway, and that's our opinion, naturally. That's not reflecting any comments out there, but and please do comment if you feel differently. But, Motley Crue, from what I understood, before I even saw them, I wasn't really going to Rock Jam to see them particularly, and knew many people that had gone to see them in the Colorado circuit anyway, earlier that year, and just said they were doing a bang-up phenomenal job, much better than they'd seen them in the last decade. They were really putting on a really good comeback show, and so I was interested naturally, and I'll stand up for it. They did a damn good job. And, at the same time, Kiss put on an amazing show, but this particular duo that we're talking about is the Motley Crue and Alice Cooper.
Right. And I'm looking forward to it, I think. I was supposed to see them last year at the Vegas thing, and it didn't work out. We never made it to
Have you seen Alice Cooper before?
Numerous times, and fantastic. I mean, you've seen them.
Yeah, I have. And that was also a Rock Jam, though.
Yeah.
That was on a Saturday night.
Rock Jam is fantastic with the point that, just a little side note, is you get to see so many bands for cheap.
And we're not promoting this necessarily in terms of advertising, but it is, again, we've been going for well over a decade now, and the number of shows you see on a Friday and Saturday for an extremely stupid low premium, I mean, you can't beat it. I mean, we're out there watching a total of at least 15 bands, all name bands, for $40 to $60, depending on the year and what else we're doing if we're paying.
And that's
for an
2
upgrade.
days.
The 2 days. 2 days. You show up there on a Friday at what? The shows start at usually 2 or 3 o'clock?
Yeah.
p.m. and they're ending right around 2 a.m. Depending on how long the encore and so long goes for. You're right, sure. And one year we saw CCR, for instance. I mean, I'm pretty sure they jammed till 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah, and then some of them
played every single song, and John Fogerty wasn't even there.
I went to one day was REO Speedwagon closed. They didn't play very long. They're a little bit older there.
It varies, but anyway, we're on the topic of Rock Jam. But my point is, I saw Alice Cooper at Rock Jam,
and my point is, for price wise, when Kiss and Crue came through, We saw them cheap, $40. If
Yeah,
you saw them
right.
in Denver,
Right, exactly.
it was
the Pepsi Center
expensive.
or something.
It was actually at the outdoor Fiddler's
At Red
Green.
Rocks? Oh, Fiddlers, yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
and so it was. I can't remember who the third band was. They came with some people, but
Either way, you
it
could
was.
buy a ticket to that for what, under $100?
You could get some lawn seats maybe for as much as we paid, and those seats are way worse than
Again,
Rock
we're
Jam.
going for days.
Yeah.
You're not paying per show.
Yeah,
But let's
so-
get back on the topic of Alice Cooper
So
for a
Alice
second.
Cooper
We covered
and-
Motley Crue a little
The
bit.
Motley Crue.
Now, Alice Cooper, I gotta say,
Yep.
this is one of those bands I was telling you about earlier. When I walked in, and we're there, and my one brother is at the show with me, and we're sitting up front now. So we're outside of the general admission that we've been talking about at Rock Jam. We paid for a little bit of an upgrade for this particular Saturday, which is nice. Comes with free food and beverage and such. And Alice Cooper's the closer. And I'm thinking to myself, I like Alice Cooper just fine. Let's see how it does. You know, he's known to be a showman. He's one of these showmen, just like Kiss and Motley Crue, but on a different level. He's an individual, historically
He
speaking,
likes
that
to
puts
put-
on a crazy show.
He sees it more like a theatrical. Like he wants
Exactly.
to entertain you.
Yeah,
He's
right.
not
It's
performing his
it's
music.
a true act,
Yes.
as it were.
Yep.
It's music plus an act.
Yep.
And I didn't really have high expectations going into that. That's one of those ones I was telling you about earlier. I left a fan. I loved Alice Cooper. In fact, my brother that went with me, he says, if he doesn't cut a baby's head off, I'm going to be pissed. And I swear on my life, fourth or so song of the set, out comes a little treasure chest with a baby doll on it, and he takes a sword out and cuts his head off.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa! Win!
Yahtzee!
Win! And that's it. I mean, you can't ask for more.
No.
It was great. And Alice Cooper's a guy, you know, he really is, it's Alice Cooper. It's not Alice Cooper and, you know, the A+ band or anything like
Right.
this. It's Alice Cooper. And his boys, at least when we saw him, I don't know what his history is in terms of hiring bandmates or anything, or if it's even consistent. But he has a nose for talent either way, because when I saw him, they put on a tremendous show, and Alice Cooper was man enough and artistic enough to allow his bandmates, who, again, may or may not tour with him on a regular basis, to come out and do their own solos. The guitarist, the bassist, came out, gave their own 15-minute, and I'm not kidding you, 15 minutes with their own soloing, and just killed it. And these boys are good. They're young, too. At least the ones I saw. Again, I don't know if he travels with them on a regular basis, but I mean, these boys couldn't have been much older than us, maybe our age, maybe even a little younger. Shit, I don't
He
know.
swaps them out a little bit. The recent ones I've seen, he's got a different set.
But either way, Alice Cooper has a nose for talent.
Yeah.
He knows how to put on a show. Because the boys he hires not only are talented in their instrument, but they also put on their own show.
Right.
And Alice Cooper is a great enough artist to allow them to have their own time as well. Which I love. That was maybe my favorite part.
Yeah.
Was that he allowed them to just get out there and kill it on their own.
Yep.
And then Alice comes back out, you know, and everyone goes up in flames, and it's great. It's awesome.
That was my first Alice show. I was super excited. And I was of the mentality, because at that point, he hadn't really been touring. He'd only hit up a couple festivals, and it's like, finally, like Rock Jam. Gonna see some Alice
Right.
Cooper.
And,
Totally.
you know, you're talking about a guy
stoked
that's been in business for 30
Oh,
years.
yeah. He doesn't
30
even
plus
have
years.
to probably work
No,
anymore.
probably
He
not.
just does it
I mean,
because
well,
he loves it.
he DJs on the radio.
Exactly. Like,
And that's awesome to listen to, too. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if he does anymore. I know
He
he
does.
used to.
He does.
He does? He used to be on 103.5 here locally, I think.
I haven't been able to find him locally.
Yeah, I haven't either for a bit now.
But he's still, you can get him over. Like, in
But it's
Junctions.
awesome. I used to love listening to that
Yep.
shit.
I saw him recently, kind of like a situation like yours. I was second row at Paramount, and he was playing. That was fantastic. He didn't cut any baby head off, but he had the...
Yeah, if you don't have the baby's head, you don't have any.
yeah.
Is at least my esteemed brother's opinion.
He had the guillotine, and, you know, he brought out...
Well, that's the thing, the props. The props
Yeah.
with Alice has always been prom.
He
man.
brought out
still
some new
works it.
talent. He had a young kid that maybe he was playing. I was too far back to see exactly who was playing, but one of the kids on the guitar was younger, probably younger than us. And then a new girl that's been making some waves is Orianthi.
I love Orianthi.
Yeah.
She's extremely good, and she's one of these
She's
kids
so
that got into
sexy.
Nashville. Well,
No,
she's
She's not out of Nashville. She's out of Australia.
I understand she's originally from there, but her origins in terms of music
Right,
and coming
right.
forth are out of the Nashville area, which gives her an extremely unusual sound. Because she has a great rock and roll side to her,
Oh,
but
she
she
can
has a
shred
certain
so
pseudo.
much.
And she's notorious for the guitar.
Yeah.
For shredding it.
Yeah.
She's great, and she's beautiful, as you said. But she also has this certain kind of, I don't know that I want to call it necessarily bluegrass, essence, but she's got a certain strumming instrumental and a tone to it that's a little bit bluesy.
And I
you know
feel
what?
like
It's not
that
your
might-
hard rock. It's not like you're in this moment. Not to knock on In This Moment at all. In fact, I'm one of their biggest fans. But it's not something like that as a female vocalist. You know, that's maybe her claim to fame. It's her uniqueness and bringing it forth. And do you have that spelling, Orianthe? Give it a guess and look it up. If you haven't already, if you don't know who we're talking about.
I think it's Oriathi.
And try that at least, and you're gonna find it.
If you look up like Alice
she's
Cooper,
incredible.
she'll be
Again,
credited.
she's and there are kids that are out there on YouTube and stuff that are, you know, like younger kids that are, you know, strumming or picking along to her instrumentals. In terms of the guitar, she's a notoriously guitarist.
And she's played with, I think she's played with Slash. She's played with Michael Jackson before he died.
I'll tell you what, she's fucking stupid good.
Yeah.
Is what she is. I mean, she's amazing. And if you haven't caught it, check it out, at least. She hasn't hit, I won't say the big time yet. I mean, I think if you're in the realm and...
She just put out her first solo album.
Yeah.
And I don't think it did as good as she wanted it to.
Right.
But it's still pretty good. Like, it's worth checking
good.
out.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. I mean, she's on my iPod. I like to listen to it. But I'm also right now in a way of I love female-led bands right now. I'm really into that. I like the grit and the nasty that the female vocal can bring to some rock and roll music. And I mean, of course, my all-time favorites are extremely repetitive in terms of what, most people's are. You know, the AC/DC,
right.
the Guns N' Roses. These are my favorite bands. You know,
Yeah.
and things that even more recent bands that aren't led by female vocalists, like Airborne, for instance. Love them.
Yeah.
But as
fantastic.
of most late, I've loved the female-led rock bands, and that seems to be a coming wave to me. What do you think? I really think it's a coming wave. You know, the female artists, in terms of the vocalists, are intruding, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean intrusion like breaking and entering style. But the female vocalist is really becoming a prominent figure in rock and roll music, and not like Heart. Like, and I don't mean any disrespect, but I'm not a big fan of Heart. I don't like him, and and millions of people did, tens of millions, more even. You know, I mean, they were a huge band. That's why I know their name. But myself, I'm not a. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that lead like In This Moment, Orianthe. You know, I like these things.
Yeah.
Help me out with the other band.
Well, before we go down this line, I want
help
to
me out
continue
with
that.
No, I do. I
just wanted to wrap up.
I want to wrap it up too. What's the band?
There's a couple. There's a Hailstorm that's been making noise.
That's great. Awesome.
Also, the Pretty Reckless is making a lot.
That is it.
They haven't. They're just now on that cusp.
They're
like,
not
people
even
are
necessarily going
starting
to break. They're not even necessarily going to break. They're not necessarily going to be the wave that crests. But if you like rock and roll music led by a female, honest to God, look them up.
And it's one of those things like, she loves like the Beatles. She loves Kurt Cobain.
Well, she was
Led
a
Zeppelin.
kid actress, actually. I want to comment on this. Can I?
Yeah.
Is that fine? It's fine.
Her name's
choice.
Taylor Momsen.
Yeah, and she was originally not originally, but she was an actress, and she was the wee little girl in the what was it? The Grinch.
The Grinch.
The Grinch. She was the tiny little girl in the Grinch. Yeah, the one with Drew Carey. That's right. Or I'm sorry, not Drew Carey, Jim Carrey. And then she was later. My wife tells me.
Right.
My wife tells me that she was also on some soapy opera.
Well, it's
like
not
Gilmore
soap
Girls
opera,
or something like that.
Or Gossip
Girls. One of these numbers. No,
something
which
that
is a
fellas
smaller
like
kid.
us
And
don't
if
necessarily
you
watch.
know her from that though, it's incredible the change she's gone through, the transformation. Now, I mean, myself speaking, I feel like she's a little young for how scandalous some of it appears. But when you listen to it. Just listen to it. Close your effing eyes. Close your fucking eyes if you're going to be easily offended, and just listen to it because it's great.
Well,
it's
okay.
fucking great.
So you introduced me to this band.
Yeah, I love
and
this isn't even on the docket.
What you showed me was her early stuff. She wrote those songs when she was 15, and they're fantastic. Her new CD
which is
coming
fucked
out,
up too, because some of that shit is pretty vulgar.
Yeah,
I mean, you're right. You take it for what it is. You know what? But you know, when you grow up in an atmosphere like that, when you're a kid coming through Hollywood, I mean, you become an adult, as they say. Exactly. You grow up real quick, and not necessarily in the right ways.
She's been writing songs since
she left, but at least based on what we know and read, she left the acting bit because rock and roll was her destination.
She always called acting her day job.
Right. She always wanted to be a rocker, and damn it all if I don't support that, because she's fucking good. She's great.
Yeah,
she has an incredible voice. My wife loves this sound, and she gives me shit a little bit. And it's a complete side note, but she likes shit like Miley Cyrus, and I'm not into it.
Yeah.
But she says, you know what? If Miley Cyrus joined up with the band though and did what Taylor Momsen's doing, you would probably like her. And I have a hard time saying no. She's probably right. If she got into a different genre and learned to rock a little bit.
If you look at the way she acts and how ridiculous she
is.
If you
just acting.
Well, no, if you
I know what you mean.
And you put a metal band behind it.
But if her sound is good, like and my wife is right in that. I think that her sound is good.
Miley Cyrus?
Right, Miley Cyrus' sound is good.
Can't say I've ever heard of her song.
Because right now you'd be wasting your time.
Yeah.
But I do believe if she got behind a strong instrumental and got into the rhythm and the rhyme of it, she actually could be... sorry. She could be a good frontman for a rock and roll band. She really could. I think so.
A little more information on the prereq list. They have a CD coming out that I'm excited for. It's Going to Hell. The band matured so much.
Out? It's not already out?
It's not out yet. It comes out March 18th.
And you should buy the shit out of that. You should check that song, Going to Hell, at least on the interwebs.
Fantastic.
If you haven't heard of Taylor Momsen ever and The Pretty Reckless, you should at least check that song out on the YouTube. Give yourself, what is it, 4 minutes tops?
Yeah, tops.
Just listen.
You'll love it.
If you're easily offended, don't watch the video. Whatever. Get over it. Listen to it. If you like rock and roll, check it out.
The difference is, like we talked about some female bands. In this moment, she does a lot of screamo stuff.
Very different. Very
female. I would almost lean towards.
I wouldn't call it metal. I wouldn't call it metal. She has
a lower voice. She's not one of those like like Katy Perry.
Right. No, it's not that shit. Well,
like she has a lower baritone
voice. And no
offense
for all practical purposes.
If you like
Perry, you're great.
Yeah, you got a nice rack. We love you. No, but
you do great work.
Look,
people love you.
We're
talking about rock and roll, though.
If you go to their website, you can pre-order their CD. You can get a shirt and a CD for $25. Come on, a shirt and a CD.
And that's pretty tough.
That is nice. And they're actually coming to Denver, and I strongly encourage you and your wife.
Encourage me.
Come on down. Come on.
What are you new? Yeah, I'll be there.
Come on. It's it's February 19th at Summit Music Hall. Freaking that is,
if you're local, check it out.
Yeah.
And if you're not local,
fly in. No.
Google tube that son of a bitch and find out where it is. Listen to the songs first. And promise you this. I haven't been to one of their shows yet. Have you? No, you haven't. We haven't been to one of their shows yet. I am just
I know that
chomping at the bit, as they say.
They opened for Guns N' Roses before. They're a good act. And I've heard that she might flash a little something. She puts the little tape over the boobies, so it's
right, exactly.
So it's PG.
Yeah, right.
I don't know where you classify. It's not R.
At least, but then again, I mean, shit. What? Stars in Stereo. That was a band we saw recently at Rock Jam, and I mean, it wasn't one of these duct tape over the boob events, but the lead singer whose name I don't know offhand.
Hofkraft.
And if you mispronounce it, sorry, Becca.
We
saw them for the first time live, and
I saw
Becca
them right before.
She was actually a younger star doing solo artist stuff, and she was good there. But damn it, as a rock and roll artist, she is amazing.
It's another good CD.
The whole band is great. We actually have a nice picture with that. I like that, by the way. Thanks for fucking posting that. And
I did a review on their CD. It's fantastic.
It is. It's great. We both own it. We both bought it on site. Got it signed. It was great. We love them. Thank you so much, Stars in Stereo.
Yep.
And, I mean, they sung a great cover to Nine Inch Nails, Wanna Fuck You Like an Animal, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I really don't know what the title track is, or what the name of the song is even, but you know the one, yeah. Fuck You Like an Animal. And I mean, if that offends you, probably don't look into the Pretty Reckless or anything else. That's where I was going with this thing the whole time. But anyway, yeah, let's buff on to the next.
Well, okay, I did want to get a little bit of feed on you. Are you sad that Motley Crue, going way back, is going to do a farewell tour.
You know, myself,
They claim that it's not a Kiss situation where they're like,
not.
farewell.
I'm not.
Are you
going to
go? Are you going to consider it?
I'm not.
You're done with it?
And
you
I'm
saw
not.
him once?
And I'm not.
No, you saw him twice.
I'm not.
You're not?
But here's what's going on with that.
Tell me more.
My feeling is that they were a great rock and roll bit in the industry during their time. My problem, and I don't want to mean this in offense to any band out there. So playing. I mean, for instance, Quiet Riot.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw them at Rock Gym, again, bringing up that one event again.
Right.
I mean, the good man died. The front man died 2 months later.
Yeah.
You know, and so I had a great opportunity to see that at the time. But my point is, all these bands that are earlier, you know, I mean, and I'm even going to accuse Steve Miller of it. I'm going to accuse Aerosmith of it. I'm going to accuse what's now called Guns N' Roses of it. Kiss, Motley Crue, they all fall in the same. They are amazing musicians, and they have their songs. What's never going to happen today is a new single.
I disagree.
Let's talk about that in a second.
Okay.
I feel like, to a degree, it almost hinders the growth of the new rock and roll. Not that the new rock and roll won't follow it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, the new bands need to break through if we're going to keep this damn thing alive.
That's the problem, though.
What?
All these older bands, they put their hats up. Like, for good instance, Styx and REO. They hung their caps up.
We saw both those fuckers at Rock Gym.
But yeah, so they were like, okay, you know, we had our heyday.
Yeah.
No good music was coming out, and they got called back. They are touring because people are buying tickets. People want to see that shit.
People want to see it.
I think we're at a trend. The thing was like,
people have to come up from the bottom ranks, and they need to bring new rock.
And that's
if
when
they don't soon, it's going to be dead. They've been saying rock is dead since the late '80s.
We're on that upward trend with like.
Well, it needs to change. That's what I'm saying. Well, okay, good. I like that. But the Pretty Reckless might be shadowed by things. They can't get maybe necessarily venues or the time slots because other bands are still alive. And I'm not saying that. I know what you're saying. The probability of that is not necessarily true, but they're not getting the attention because the other ones are still touring. People are still going to see Guns N' Roses.
Because they want to, though.
But are they really the GNR of 1985?
Those aren't.
Fuck no, they're not.
I think Motley Crue is still good.
Huh?
I think Motley Crue is still the band. They were pretty close.
They're good. They're great. They're phenomenal.
Clean.
We need new talent
but I think that
moving in. We're talking about things that have a huge gap.
With the other bands that you mentioned, I agree. Like, I got Aerosmith's new CD.
I went to Aerosmith's top
Not impressed.
concert, and I think it was 2009.
Yeah, I was there too.
Honestly, God. It was great. It was amazing. Cheap Trick opened for him. Heart was there too, which they bless their souls and all this. Heart has made their own way, but I still feel even Aerosmith needs to step down. It's time, guys.
I think they do.
It's fucking time.
I just don't know that Motley Crue does.
Fucking time. It's all their time. We need the new generation, the new wave that's happening.
We do.
Look, if you are over the age of 35 years old, and you are not bringing your first bit of music to the scene, you need to step down.
But Crue actually had a good CD that came out.
I'm not saying they did.
They can still play good music.
I understand that, but they're blocking. They're hindering the innovative front of the new rock and roll.
They're inspiring.
What are they calling new rock and roll anyway? What are these fucking kids?
That's the thing.
I mean, the Pretty Reckless is rare. Love the Pretty Reckless. They're rare
because
they're
that's
not that
more
common. They're calling
classic.
things like the Lumineers or whatever rock and roll.
But that's not rock and roll.
Again, I want to offend the Lumineers. That's not rock and roll. That's not the AC/DC. That's not the Aerosmith. That's not the Guns N' Roses.
We need bands like Pretty Reckless, Airborne.
Yeah, now Airborne, there's a newer band that is great.
They're trying to recreate the old stuff. The one that I love.
But that's the thing. That's the problem. The word you just said is the problem. Recreate. You can't recreate. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You need to be your own entity. And that's what I love about the Pretty Reckless. To be God honest, they bring a completely new wave to the rock and roll.
The one thing with
that's what I love.
Airborne, you could easily mistake Airborne for AC/DC. Easily.
And true fans would say you're wrong, but I agree with you. The general concept, and I'm speaking generally, is very similar. They're great. I love their shit. It's amazing.
Have you seen them live?
No. I'm sure it's amazing.
They're freaking crazy.
I'm sure it's fucking amazing.
Crazy.
Well, no, first, they're young boys. They're also from Aussie
They're not
land.
that young.
Okay, well they're
They
not
look a
fucking.
little rough,
They also don't have walkers.
They like taking beer cans and just bashing against their head, doing a little bit of ACDC-ness with
have you seen the Live It Up video? Did they have? I'm pretty sure Megan Fox did. I swear to God, I've been trying to ask somebody that forever. Like if Megan Fox is in that video, they have the hot rods. They're gearing up in it. And the point is, we're getting off topic here. The new rock and roll front, I have to say, love the old. I love it. I will always carry everybody. I'm talking all the way back to like the Journey kind of a phase. The Foreigner. I have all their shit still. I still listen to it daily. But you need to allow the room for the new one to progress. You can't have the constant shade of the former inhibiting the growth of the new. You have to allow this vegetative state to occur for the new people. And this is where I have a huge hope. Really I do. For the Pretty Reckless. And if you look up the Pretty Reckless, you're going to find Taylor is what? She's 20, maybe 21, tops 22?
No, 20. She's 20.
She's young. But the rest of her band is solid over 35. Maybe hit well into their 40s.
Yeah, I haven't looked too much into them.
But the nature of it is unique. The nature of it is extremely...
It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, right. It's a fresh cut. It's a fresh cut. It's a fresh cut of pie.
And they're not trying to be innovative,
right?
Like
and they're not trying to
bands.
They're not trying to beat somebody out. They're not trying to be somebody.
They're just
they have
doing
their
thing.
own fresh cut. You have to have the fresh cut. You have to have the fresh cut.
The freshest.
All right, fuck yourself. What else are we gonna talk about? We're gonna argue about this all night. They're already hanging up on us.
I know. You know, this might be a good time for a little bathroom break.
Bathroom break.
Yeah, let's give that a go. Refuel some of the beers. We'll be right back, like split second. And we're back. You didn't even notice we were gone.
I hope that you enjoyed yourself. I wanna point this out real quick. In the event, whether you're listening to us just with audio and stereo and or video.
Hopefully visual.
Hopefully.
That's where you get to the whole show.
We hope. I mean, you get to see the ambiance of the background, but then
fucking
again, fuck
room.
yourself if you're not. You just get to listen. If your kids are here, you should turn it down.
Because there's a lot of fucks.
Don't be a fucking idiot. Anyway, I got a 9-year-old myself. Love that kid. But listen up here. Here's what I'm saying. I hope you enjoyed yourself. If you're a male, I hope your bathroom break improved your self-esteem a little bit. If you're a female, I hope that you're less angry.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean that in any way towards anybody, derogatory or otherwise, or in a helpful way, derogatory or otherwise. Moving on.
So, something else that came out recently. You know, we talked about Pretty Reckless's CDs coming up. A CD that just came out, I guess it's been a month or so. It was in December, was The Bastard Sons.
Yeah.
Long Live Song. And it's an interesting situation because, yes, I love the CD, but the way that the CD came out, and this is a new trend that's been coming out, they started up a Kickstarter. Because they didn't have...
You're talking about the website?
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
They raise the funding to do the...
Yep, they didn't have the funds, and they called upon the fans. You know, you want to see new music, pay for it, help us out, and it was fantastic.
They really got it?
Yeah, it was great.
Oh, shit.
A lot of people pitched in. I personally pitched in.
Good on you, really?
I think it was it was stupid. It was like $25, and you get...
Well, how many people did they get? What was the limit? Do you remember? Well, the lower limit. I mean, to raise the funds.
They were
like $4,000 or something, or
somewhere like right in a single-digit grand. For some reason, 5 sticks in my head, but don't quote me on that.
So that's only a
it was
whole handful of people, you know.
Yeah, and like they had like with anything, they had the whole slew of things, and like $25, you get a signed CD, and on top of that, you got to put your name in the credits inside the CD. So my name's in there. And
which is awesome. Congratulations, by the way.
Fuck, it was great.
I want to actually talk about them for a second.
Okay.
The Bastard Sons have an amazingly distorted sound, which I love.
How do you mean distorted?
Well, it reminds me a little bit of the opening of Black Betty.
Yeah.
originally by Ram Jam, which is yeah, just one of those. You know, the opening is distorted. Is what I mean by distorted.
On some of the songs, yeah. Right.
For the most of the ones I know,
right.
I like that.
Yeah.
I really do. But I do feel where maybe their prominence hasn't been found yet. I
Dude,
understand.
they are like the biggest. I might be speaking out my ass because I just can't think of all the bands, but I just feel like it's one of the biggest underrated bands. I just
agree with
don't
you.
know how they haven't made it.
The first
how haven't they made it?
Because I feel, honestly, I feel like our former conversation picks on this a little bit, is I feel like they have a resemblance of others, but not their own groove.
Not enough because it's...
Really? You know,
a rock band isn't going to steal their thunder. I
feel like they're trying to resemble former bands.
No.
They don't have their own sound enough. That's my feeling.
I think
they're an awesome sound. I think they're a great sound.
They're very...
But I just equated them to a former band. I did.
But that's in your eyes. I don't see it.
Right.
Because I listen to them a lot.
But I'm the client. As are you.
Right. If you listen to the full CD, you would get the grasp of their multiple CDs. They have a couple out. They are like an Irish punk drinking band, you know, like, and that's another one. Go see them. Stop what you're doing and go fucking see the Bastard Sons.
How much does it cost?
Cheap, like.
I mean, so where did you see them? Did you see them in DC or here?
Here, I saw them twice here.
How much was that?
$20 or less.
$20 or less. So we're here in Denver, Colorado.
In a small joint.
You have to be clear. You have to be clear.
Right. This is in Denver. In small places that there's no seating. So it's general admission. You just roll in there. And they put on...
But if you're in the D.C. area, L.A. area, if they're there, it's probably going to be a bit more. We have to be honest.
Just a little bit.
It correlates
just a little bit.
Well, so it doesn't correlate with the cost of living?
Not necessarily. In D.C., it'd maybe be $5, $5 to $10 more from when I was out there.
So it's probably similar in proportion to upgrade in the cost of living. Well, I guess DC's probably quite a bit more than, like, 15 to 20%.
But at the same time, though, we're a big fan base in Denver. Because they do like to partake in, the marijuana. And we have become...
DC does?
No, the Bastard Sons.
Oh.
So then...
Our Amendment 64.
A lot of people identify
this is Colorado
with this
people.
band.
This is Amendment 64.
You'll
notice we're drinking beer and we don't necessarily partake, but I fully support the decision.
Yeah, it's a good job. They're an Atlanta, Georgia band. Primarily. I think they're in a suburb.
Which is a huge music town. Huge music town. So the fact that they made it out of there should speak for itself. They're not necessarily in Nashville. But they are... Atlanta's a very prominent music town.
Yep.
It's a huge... I mean, you can go anywhere in Atlanta, you're going to hear music. And they have people playing all the fucking time.
Clay, the lead singer, Clay Ayres, I think that's how you pronounce it. Sorry if I mispronounce it. He is fantastic. Like, I've seen him twice. The first time, he sang until he lost his voice.
Which is awesome. You know what? I want to comment on that, actually. This has nothing to do... Well, it does. It ties into the Bastard Sons. I love it when they leave it on stage like that. I love it when I know the last words they're choking on their final song is all they've got. And you can hear that it's going wrong and going distorted because they've left it out there. Oh my God, I love that so much. There's nothing that gets my heart pumping more than that. Just like, they left it out there for us.
Yep.
And because we came there for them. And again, I'm going to tie back to the Kid Rock thing for a second.
Go ahead.
When they appreciate the fans like that, enough to go out there, leave it all on the stage like that. I love that.
Yep.
I mean, that's what makes a fan to me, really, is when you become a fan through these venues, through appreciation for the fundamental aspects of the band. I love that so much. Yep. I love it.
Yep.
Again, countless bands I've become fans of for that reason.
And they're a huge drinking band. So, like, the second time I saw them, pretty much, I think it was...
Hold on, you said, though, they're Irish.
Oh, man, I've seen them 3 freaking times.
Well, you didn't say they're Irish. You said they're an Irish punk rock kind of thing going on.
They have their own...
Sorry, I don't want to misquote you.
Right, they have their own... I identify with them. They have their own description, but they're like an Irish drinking band. Think of like...
Are they Irish?
No, they are not.
Okay.
It's just that kind of like drinking. They have a little bit...
It's the mentality.
A hint of reggae in it. The other show I saw, they had to stop because Clay was too drunk to continue on. He was forgetting the words to the song. Like, but it wasn't short. It wasn't cut
But
short. It was
you
still
gotta-
a long
okay.
show, you know.
I was gonna say, you gotta realize that pisses people off.
Right. It was still like,
The
oh,
fan
by all
base.
means, I understand why you're drunk now, and I'm fine. Like,
Yeah.
it's late.
That
But-
will happen.
Oh,
That
it's
will happen.
they're so great. Recently, they went through some changes
You know, I please,
with the
I'm sorry.
lineup, and it gave them a different sound. Their new CD, Long Live Song, has that new sound on it. I still am in love with their old music. I'm getting used to the new because they brought on a female lead singer, and I totally appreciate it. And it brings on a
Lead
whole
singer
new
or
taste.
co-lead?
Co-lead.
Co-lead.
So they do some nice duets. You get that when you bring in a female lead singer. Is like,
Man, you know my opinion on it. I already told you,
Right.
assholes. Like, I
and
love that.
I think she
I
brings a
love
little
it.
bit of a
It's
folky
the
feel
thing.
to it. I don't know. It's a little weird.
Which
I
ties
wouldn't
into
say
what you
weird,
said.
different.
Well,
It's
well,
different.
well, like you said, so that's that's maybe their attempt at the resolution from the rest of the group.
Right.
The differential that makes them different. And you know, again, a female artist, especially in conjunction with a male, can do that. And you see it all the time in things like in what we're gonna call folk. And I'm gonna call that in general just
Okay.
Irish
Go ahead.
type bands. Like Gaelic Storm, for
Right,
instance,
right.
who I also love.
Great band.
And not a rock band, but an awesome jam band.
We're a very eclectic bunch over here.
Yeah, they're not a jam band at all. Actually, I don't even know how to necessarily classify them, but
Celtic.
I mean, yeah, I mean they're
Celtic
right.
band.
They're Celtic. I know that they don't necessarily pride themselves on being that total Celtic heritage. They
Right.
have all the instrumentals and those effects. They also have a little bit more of a
It's
popped
upbeat.
up. Right. It's a little bit of a higher tempo.
It's probably like poppy Celtic music.
Yeah, and
You know,
I think
for
I hate
that
to say
region,
that.
you
I
know?
hate to say that, but you're probably right. But for all practical purposes, again, that's gonna probably help them separate from the pack.
Mhm.
And again, I've already spoken.
I
my
haven't
piece.
heard anybody that sounds similar to them in that genre, but I haven't dove into it. There might be bands. I just
Sure.
So, you know, check that CD out. I'm really excited for the next CD because I think they got, I think just a new bassist and a new singer. Once I think you absorb their influences and you start banging off of each other, I think you'll start making some better music. But not to say it's bad, just like, I think
They have
the
room
band
for
will start
growth.
to- Yeah,
The band will grow.
yeah. And they have a great catalog to build off of. Kind of going off onto other genres of music that we listen to. I just recently went to a Real Big Fish concert.
I cannot speak enough as to how underrated I feel like this band is since their conception to modern
I feel
day.
like they formed in 1990, and it's like,
Yeah,
God,
long
they've been
fucking
around that
time,
long.
yeah.
Fuck.
You know, I mean, if you don't know Real Big Fish,
Where have you been?
do better, try
Yeah.
trying harder,
I
as
mean,
it were,
it was-
in the cast. You have to try trying harder. They sing it. Well, I'm sorry. They have the great part about this band. The vocals are kick ass. The lyrics are better, and the instrumentals are so unique when they combine all these groups that you can't help but to like it. I mean, it's
I would say that they're the most popular ska band out
yeah,
there.
well, that's exactly what they are. That is their genre.
Yes,
No, is that
they are ska.
that's their pronounced
Yep.
genre is ska. And there's not, ska has I feel unfortunately gained new popularity through the hipster, which I may not be right on that.
I feel
that's my feeling.
That's my feeling as well. But we could be wrong.
I fucking hate that
Yeah.
because it deters. I feel like the genre for other people, like.
Yeah, because you don't want to be identified.
Both my younger brothers aren't that young, okay? they both don't necessarily want to even listen to Real Big Fish because they're classified as ska. And which pisses me
it's kind
off.
of what
I mean, ska.
Consider that like a
what's-
stereotype based
what's-
on music.
Exactly, it's a terrible stereotype. And they're one of those bands that you can simply say don't give a fuck. They play music because they like to play music. We're just fortunate enough that they're still in business because there's enough people to support them. They continue to make a profit enough to continue to do their job. And they've been at it for a long time, 20 years or so. And I will always listen to Real Big Fish. I love their stuff.
It was very nostalgic being at that concert because I thought back to basketball. With the South Park guys, like before South Park, and
How is
they
this
were
tying
on
in?
there.
Tell me.
Huh?
How's it tying? They're in this.
Yeah, they're in that. They actually are in there playing at the basketball game. The band is in there, and then they play some of their songs. And
I'm pretty sure Gay Like Storm was in the Titanic.
You think?
I think so.
I've never seen the
I'm
Titanic.
pretty sure.
Never seen it.
Well, you're a
never.
lucky man. But I'm pretty sure somewhere in that 4 hours, goddamn disaster. That
Horrible shit.
I think they are.
And I knew people in high school that went to see multiple times. Like, are you fucking stupid?
What, your parents hate you?
Yeah, your parents hate you. Go, what the fuck? We gotta get out of the house.
Take $10 and get the fuck out of here for 8 hours.
Oh, but yeah, it's been a minute since I went to see a ska show, and it was fantastic. Just everything about it, open to close, fantastic.
True.
Go see the show,
please.
They
do yourself a favor.
A noteworthy thing is like the show. I only knew Real Big Fish, so everything else was new to me.
So, did they have an opener?
Lots of
solo.
It was like technically 5 bands because their drummer has a new band, and so he did an acoustic set of his. I think it's called This Majestic, maybe, kind of around that, something like that.
Well, I want to comment on this for a minute though, because there's so many bands out there that anyone that loves music knows. There's a lot of bands out there that, for whatever reason, and Real Big Fish is not necessarily the case. I'm kind of going a bit off on a tangent, but there are those bands that just have this essence that's so new and fresh, and I struggle in my mind understanding why hasn't it hit. I mean, part of it, we have to blame radio a little bit, I think.
Yes.
Because if it doesn't go mainstream radio, then they're never mainstream.
Exactly.
That's just a fact. It's a fact. It's a fact. It's a fact.
You know, Bastard Sons has been played on KBPI.
I understand.
Local
this, which
Denver
is 106.7 KBPI here in Denver.
And luckily for us, he's been, for over a decade, he's been DJ there. Willie B, he likes that band. He'll find bands he likes, and he tries his damnedest to put them on the radio.
He ghost drops them, yeah.
And that's so great that there's some people out there like that to help these little bands. You know?
I wanna point this out, and this isn't even a rock and roll band. There's this band out of Melbourne, Australia called Blue King Brown, and they are they're actually they're a peace reggae band is what I'm gonna call it. And don't make, I mean, come on, I don't have dreads or anything, but I could though. You know, you've seen that damn shit. It's ridiculous. It's not dreads, but it could be. And I mean, damn it, what a band! Amazing. And I saw them open for a popular reggae band up in Fort Collins, Colorado, at the Yagi Theater, and I watched this group, Blue King Brown, out of Melbourne, Australia, and was completely blown away. I left the pronounced presence of the band that was advertised right after they were done playing, because I wanted so badly to go meet the band. And I did. That's impressive. It was amazing. And nice. Again, I hear this band, again, not a rock and roll thing, but they were so fucking amazing on every level. And they never wanted to be big. That's not their thing.
Yeah.
They're a music band, and they travel the world, and they're more of what I'd call a Bob Marley kind of a lineage. I'm not saying they speak the same message, but they are about spreading a message, not spreading the music. That's their point. And if they carry the one thing in common with Bob Marley, it is the what must be will be. And that is kind of their message. And they propagate certain political messages, and that's all fine and good. But I mean, what an amazing show it was for me. And I feel like there's so many bands out there that have a similar output, a similar stake up, where they are just trying to propagate something that isn't necessarily a common understanding. And you'll never hear Blue King Brown on any radio station, at least in the United States.
This is the first time I heard
Ever. You know, but there's a lot of bands out there like that. That, you know, when you can understand what they're talking about, or at least attempt to, you become a fan in that way, you know. So many times these days, I mean, you get these bands that make no fucking sense. Not even a band. Well, let's call it a band. Let's call it a band. All these, like, I'm not gonna name anyone because I don't want to bash anybody. You got all these poppy bands that they don't have a message. It's a redundant bunch of bullshit, and I hate that.
They found the formula to make a song, and they
on the radio.
Yeah.
The thing that rock and reggae I feel have in common is the propagation of a message. They both stand for that. Those two genres stand for that exact point.
Yeah.
Propagating a message.
Yep.
That's what I love about both. Let's move on. I'm sorry, I got off on a tangent.
So, you know, Bastard Sons, check them out, and all these other bands that we mentioned. Something that super excited about. And, I mean, you bitched about it earlier. but you gotta say that you are excited. Fucking AC/DC. The rumor is
Bitch about it?
the old band's coming and stealing all the thunder.
No,
hey,
fuck yourself.
AC/DC is as old as they come almost.
I
Come
bite
on.
my tongue. You're right. Over what, 30 albums or so?
Oh, Jesus. And they all sound the same.
Says you, dick.
No, it's true,
I
but
don't
we
agree.
love them, you know? But, you know, when you dive into what is AC/DC, then you know. You can understand. You hear that little, like, ditty, you're like, oh, that's that one song, instead of the populace. That's
You're
like,
right. I get you. Yes.
But, so it's rumored on the interwebs that this is AC/DC's 40th anniversary, if you can believe it. Oh, God.
If you've seen them live, you'll believe it. But then again, they kick so much ass. It's unbelievable.
They just came through their Black Ice tour, 2009. We
2008,
we shat our pants.
8, 9?
I think it was
Yeah,
9.
doesn't matter.
Fun, like that's one of those bands, the top of my list that I could die once I saw them.
It was amazing. It
Fucking,
was fucking amazing.
I guess I'm gonna die soon, but cheap, dirt cheap. They're at the Pepsi Center. It's effectively an ice rink sized place because that's where the apps
Fits
play.
40,000 fucking people.
But God, every seat in the house was $95. You could be on the floor. You could be up.
If you ever go to the Pepsi Center, in my opinion, don't go on the floor. Get up. The acoustics are fucked up on the ground.
I beg to differ slightly.
Really?
I bought the seats for us. There's 4 of us that went. 2 of our longtime buddies. I chose to get us where it would sound good, and we were in the back center stage, so that, like, because we could have gotten the floor easy. And, you know, I love being on the floor, but I didn't want any asshole that's like fucking Jolly Green Giant in front of me blocking me from seeing Mr. Angus Young. So I was like, I want a good view. I want to see might be the only time I get to see AC/DC because they hadn't made a CD. I almost feel like it might have been a decade. I'm not sure. It was definitely the 90s.
No, you're right.
Back
the
in
Razor's
Black and
Edge.
No, back in what was it? Razor's
No, it was the Razor's Edge in the early 90s. I think 93 or 94.
So Black Ice had come out in 2009. Great CD. So I chose for the best viewing. I feel like the next time I go, I want to be as close as I can possibly be. But anyway, they made it reasonable, head to toe. You get bands like, I would say Journey might be equivalent to like an AC/DC and fan base.
Mm-hmm.
There are tickets. Like, I wanted to see them there at the Pepsi Center this year with Steve Miller and Tower of Power. I was like, damn, let's go. No way. Over $100 for floor. And I'm a snob now. Once I started making a little bit of change and I got my first floor seats, it was like floor or go home. I can't do it. But this is still a rumor, and they're also supposed to be putting out a CD, which you know how long AC/DC makes a CD, but you know they haven't been doing anything really. Brian Johnson is mostly what I've heard of.
I mean, yeah, he's running around fucking racing.
Yeah, he wrote a book about race cars. He's huge on that. I heard the Angus brothers have been just sitting around drinking, like living it up on the amazing songs. Like, you can bitch, all you naysayers, they're like, oh, it all sounds the same.
Look,
Their music
you know what?
is always
Here's what I'm gonna say.
best-selling.
I want to talk about this.
Go ahead.
Fuck the new tour. I'm just gonna say that. Not that it won't be successful.
Or were you
AC/DC, in terms of when kids, even today, and I'm a father of a nearly 10-year-old son, he has 2 favorite songs. His first favorite is Back in Black by AC/DC. His second favorite is Jump by Van Halen.
Nice.
And he's been that way since he was in the little booster, tiny little, whatever the hell you call it, the little seat.
I remember.
What do you call it? The car seat.
Yeah,
with the 5-star buckle. And I mean, he was going off ape shit in the back.
I remember
songs came
we
out.
were driving and
nuts.
he was in the back just screaming out Crazy Train.
I was like, honestly, he loves the
I fell in love with that kid at that moment.
He did, and he knew that one. When the strumming came up, he'd always start really good. He'd be like, I. He loved it. But the point is, my point with all that is, good rock and roll never dies. That is true. And I said earlier, you're right, about them kind of crowding the stage because it's a hard-ass legacy to live up to.
It's slightly
They'll never
different
die
because
off.
they'll never
die off. My son was a year and a half, 2 years old max when these became his favorite songs. They're still that way today. good music never, ever, ever dies. Your grandkids will know these songs. And you'll speak about the time that maybe you saw them, or at least when they were still at least high enough in the populace.
The sad thing that I've been seeing is like a lot of rap songs will come through. They
do the remix. Yeah,
they'll remix it, and that's how some of the new kids know it.
Yeah, well, they usually also have a flat-billed hat pitched to the side like this.
With the stickers on it.
Fucking dipshit.
Oh, if you're listening to it, we love you, but no.
Yeah, hey, guy, get the sticker off.
Come on. You're not going to get a job like that.
Dude, the hat has a utility. Let me explain this to you, guy. In the event you are that guy, and I don't mean any disrespect. I understand you're young, maybe you're stupid. It's not your fault. They call me Doc for a reason. I hold a doctorate, and I'm not preaching about myself. I'm just trying to explain to you a thing here. This is a hat. You'll notice the outer diameter is suited to fit one's head. The bill is intended to block the sun from one's eyes. Now, wearing a flat up to the side like this, it will not achieve this. Alright, if you're a Kaepernick kind of a guy, God bless you, son. Sorry about it, Cap. But this is stupid. Alright? And you want to wear all the stickers and shit? Come on.
What, you want to look like you just stole it?
Yeah, you leave the sticker on the new car you just bought? What are you, new?
Yeah.
Fuck, guy. Put a little bend in it to shield your peripherals, tie it in just above your brow, and that's what a cap was invented for.
Yeah, and I'm wearing it like this because you need to see this pretty mug. You don't want me to be fucking rolling around like this, and there's also no sun in my eyes. This is how I wear a hat when I'm outside.
Also, at night, you don't need to fucking wear a cap.
Yeah. You dick. You also don't need to wear sunglasses.
Asshole. Right, true, but there's no stickers on these bitches. I'll take them off right now out of respect. Okay, I drove down. I was driving directly west. Out here in the mountains, west is where the fucking sun sets.
Denver, the Sunshine State or some shit, right?
Yeah, fuck California.
Yeah, fuck those assholes.